Up next on Consumer Compass, home improvement scams directed at seniors.
This message, get out and get out wide, that this is a preventable crime.
A visit to a car repair shop to get some consumer tips.
They should be reading this. This is the, an owner's manual.
And a field trip to the Attorney General's office in Baltimore. Stay tuned.
Contact the business and try to work out something that's acceptable to both the consumer and the business.
Hello, I'm Joy Matthews, an investigator at the Office of Consumer Protection here in Montgomery County. One segment of the community we often help is seniors, and they are most vulnerable when it comes to home improvement scams. Recently, the Office of Consumer Protection hosted a press event on this topic. It was prompted by a case involving an elderly woman who was scammed regarding tree work at her home. Durwood resident Selma Newtonboom paid thousands of dollars for tree trimming services despite agreeing to only $700. Legally blind, Selma trusted the door-to-door workman. He was later caught and pled guilty to being an unlicensed contractor.
We want to thank Selma Newtonboom for allowing us to conduct this media event at her home. As you can see, it's a lovely spot. Unfortunately, it is also a financial crime scene. And there are many other residential homes in Montgomery County and surrounding jurisdictions that have also been victimized by unlicensed contractors.
These rip-off artists, and I call them rip-off artists, have victims not only in Montgomery County but throughout the metropolitan region. The cases are handled by our police department, but also by Consumer Affairs, Department of Natural Resources, and the Maryland Home Improvement Commission. That's why we're announcing today a comprehensive commitment by area law enforcement agencies region-wide to work together to share information and to end this practice. Each year, consumers in Maryland, Montgomery County alone, have lost hundreds of thousands of dollars to unlicensed contractors through incomplete, abandoned, or poorly performed home improvement projects. We will not tolerate the victimization of our residents, especially our seniors.
Basically, what a woodchuck is they're unlicensed contractors who are coming in from out of the area. They usually target this area, especially after a major weather event, anything along the lines of a derecho, tornado, severe ice storm, anything that's going to result in severe tree damage or property damage. The contractors would come in and basically they would lowball anything that's legitimate. Once they get into the area and they find themselves a nice victim, they may stay there for a couple of years. It's not uncommon for the woodchuckers to come back and find new stuff. They say that they're looking for chimney work, they're doing driveway repair, they're doing all types of sorts of stuff that ultimately is going to relieve you of your money.
The message from the state's attorney's office is quite simple. We will prosecute you, and we will prosecute to the full extent of the law anyone that preys on the most vulnerable of our community. And that's what these people do, that do these violations of home repair contracts. We've, as the state's attorney's office, have started a specialized unit for crimes against seniors. One, because of the uptick of number of cases that we've seen in this area, and two, because of statistics that show we're going to have an uptick in the number of seniors in Montgomery County in the next few years.
We believe very strongly in the importance of our licensing structure in the state of Maryland, that home improvement work should be done by licensed professionals, and our staff of investigators are out statewide, but particularly we're very proud and happy of the collaboration that we're doing in Montgomery County with Eric's fine office and all of the representatives up here today. Particularly want to just mention again, it's very, very important, get multiple references, check on the online MHIC licensing system to determine license status, and most importantly, maybe make sure you know exactly what's in the contract. Understand very, very clearly what you're signing before you sign it.
In terms of what homeowners can do to best protect themselves, probably the best thing is to follow the rule of threes, which is to do 3 reference checks, to do and get 3 estimates, to call the Office of Consumer Protection, to check with the Maryland Home Improvement Association to make sure that the state has a license for the contractor who is trying to get the work, and to check with the Better Business Bureau to make sure that there aren't outstanding complaints. Many home contractors are perfectly legal and do good work, and it is important to recognize that. But of course, we want to make sure that all of our residents have a good experience when they hire somebody.
For more information about home improvement scams or to report one, please call us or come into our office or visit the OCP website. Do you own a car? Do the repairs leave you feeling confused or vulnerable? Next, join OCP investigator Doug Numbers as he meets with Greg Skolnick, owner of Motorworks in Rockville, to find out what consumers can do to be educated and prepared. Greg is also a business development coach and mentor to auto repair shop owners around the country.
Hi, Greg.
Hey, buddy. Good to see you.
Well,
How are
thank you.
things?
Thank you very much. Things are well.
What can I do for you?
I'm here today to talk to you about consumers and car repair. How can people be prepared when they come into a shop so you can help them, basically? I mean, what do they need to do to be prepared if they come in with a problem or service?
Most of the time the clients come in, they don't really know what they need or want, and it's our responsibility to sort of diagnose not only the car but them too, and make sure that we can all work together. We don't do this whole adversarial thing. I know that in the consumer affairs world, a lot of times it's this, what can I get from you and what can you get from me, and it's not like that. You don't see counters here for a reason, so this is important that we sit together and work as a partnership. It is a partnership with the clientele. For a first-time client, if you're not sure about where to go and someone recommends you to go to a particular shop, check them out. Ask questions. Start with their website. Most places these days have websites, and they have all kinds of certifications are big. The ASE certification, Automotive Service Excellence, is important. Hey, Sean, I grabbed the owner's manual out of this car. I just want to let you know that's why things open. Long before they come in to see me, generally right after they get their car, they should be reading this. This is the an owner's manual. You can see how thick they are, but there's a lot of information in here about the car that is really important to the overall condition of keeping the car in
Sure.
like new condition throughout its lifetime, which is the best way to squeeze as much money out of the car as you can, is to keep it for a long time.
Also, if people read their owner's manual, it helps them understand how their vehicle functions and may save them a trip here if they think something's wrong, but they haven't switched it on or turned the key on the right way or set something the correct way.
Not only that, Doug, but I will tell you this. One of the things that I think is so important, and we quiz our clients quite a bit on it when they call up and they say, my car's doing something strange, because they're the ones that are in the car every day. They know what it sounds like. They know what it feels like more than we do. Because we were only specialized in certain brands of vehicles, we know them a lot better. Right. But each car is individual, right? So they know that the car doesn't make that kind of a noise, then they know when to alert us. So we do push our clients to let us know if something seems out of the ordinary. And sometimes it's not a big deal. Sometimes it's not a big deal at all. Reading the manual, usually in the back, they'll have something about maintenance, and we'll discuss maintenance in just a little while.
Sure.
Because I really think that there's some problems with the way the manuals describe maintenance.
Okay.
And I think that there's a lot of shops out there that would agree with me on that. We've been experiencing a few problems with cars that have been following the maintenance minders on the cars, and they talk about 10,000 mile oil changes
and stuff like
and then
that,
after
right.
50,000 miles, the car needs a needs an engine re-ring or something like that. So those are the people that are trying to give you the impression that the car isn't really, it doesn't really need a lot of maintenance, and I'm sort of big on maintenance.
Greg, modern cars have gotten much more computerized.
Oh, yeah.
You know, computer controls a lot of different functions in a motor vehicle nowadays. A lot of people get upset, have some anxiety about that. They're not sure what's going on with their car. You know, how can you give them, I guess, a little reassurance or tell them that, you know, if the check engine light comes on, it's not necessarily the end of the world, I guess?
It's not. Actually, it's really a good thing. Modern cars today are so complex that the auto manufacturers actually got together years ago and decided they had to have sort of a system to help the average technician be able to maintain the car. And because there's so much going on under the hood and behind the scenes that you don't know about while you're driving the car is always monitoring a whole bunch of different systems. When that check engine light comes on the car, there could be 70, 80 different reasons for that thing to come on. It's something could be simple like a leaking gas cap, or the gas cap isn't tight,
sure,
or something more important like a fuel injector has failed and it's causing, it's spilling fuel and it's going to destroy your catalytic converter. So it is really important to pay attention to the check engine light, but more than anything else, again, part of this whole thing with a trust relationship with your technician, they're going to use rather expensive and complex equipment to attach to your car to start the diagnosis. The cars will store a trouble code, and it will give the technician a place to start. Okay, we know that we have, say, for example, an evaporative emission failure, which is a pretty common one. Evaporative emission system on the car keeps gasoline from evaporating out of the car. It's good for fuel mileage. It's really great for the environment. So it's really important. So if that system, which is supposed to test itself to make sure it's sealed, fails, it will set a light on the dashboard. And when that happens, it sets a code in the computer's memory. We go in with equipment and it says, here's a very specific code for this problem, and we start through this diagnostic tree. It's a lot more complex than it used to be. I mean, that's one of the reasons we changed names from mechanics to technicians.
Sure.
Because it's way more technically oriented now. No more carburetors, no more points in condensers,
right.
None of that. That's all gone.
That we started on.
But it's actually a really good thing.
Yeah. What helps you guys? You know, if I come in and say my car's dead, that doesn't help you.
Right.
You know, what can we say to consumers to say, you know, how to help your repair shop out, fix your car properly the first time?
First and foremost, I would ask a new client to come in with an open mind, and don't come in with the chip on your shoulder because you've been burned all across town. Understand that not all shops do that, and actually it's much better nowadays. It used to be a lot worse in this industry. The industry is cleaning itself up and it's getting much better, which is probably a good thing for you guys. Right. Don't withhold information about the car. Sometimes they'll do that. They'll sort of give you a little bit, and you can tell when they're doing that. You know, they're not giving you the whole thing, and you got to pull it out of them. If you got to pull out information out of the customer, usually it's because they've been burned many times, and they're very distrustful. And trust is something that's critical, yet it is very fragile. So you have to build up over time. This is not something you can do quickly. So Doug, one of the things that's interesting is when a new client calls in for the first time and they've never been here, a lot of times, first of all, they'll have been on our website, and so they get a little bit of feel for who we are and kind of the culture of our business. But interestingly enough, one of the questions that they almost invariably ask is, how much is a blank?
Sure,
you know, whatever. Everybody wants to know how much
idea.
it is. What they're really asking is, can you help me with my problem and not take advantage of me at the same time?
Well, and consumers also need to understand you can't diagnose a car over the phone.
Right.
You know, you don't have a button on your phone that you can push that says, yep, your car needs this, you know, or anything like that. It's
right.
You know, and it may be a simple repair or it may be a complicated repair.
Which is where the trust factor comes in. Right. So you need to find somebody who's ethical, who you feel comfortable with, and ask questions.
Greg, you've given us some great tips. Read your owner's manual.
Right.
Do your maintenance.
Yes.
Build a relationship with your shop.
Absolutely critical.
Right. what else? I mean, it's summer driving season. What else could we tell consumers to just try to be a little more prepared so they don't get stuck on the road, hopefully?
Well, the main things that get beat up in summertime are batteries and air conditioning systems because they're getting the most use. But tire pressure is important. Fluid levels in under hood are really important. That's the basic stuff that needs to be looked at. If the battery is more than 3 years old, you should have it professionally tested to make sure that it has capacity to restart the car, because nobody wants to get to the beach and then go click, click, click.
Gotcha.
They can also make sure that they are that a new customer, you're checking out a new shop, because the shop is the one going to be able to help you identify potential problems on the car. But if you're a first-time client, make sure you do some homework with things, online reviews, Yelp, Angie's List. These types of places are good to get other people's views. Ask your neighbors, ask your friends, people that you work with, who they like, and that's probably the best referral we get are from our own clients when they refer a new client to us. It's the highest quality.
That's great. And I would also say, put a plug in for my office, see if they've received any complaints on the shop, or your local Better Business Bureau to see if they've had any complaints on the shop or any issues.
Absolutely. Great stuff, Doug. Now,
thank you, Greg.
I got to go to work.
Okay.
Here,
great.
Good
Thank you for your time, Greg. I appreciate it.
All right. Take care now. See you later.
All right.
So in our next segment, OCP Director Eric Friedman hits the road to meet with Bill Groon, the Chief of the Consumer Protection Division in the Maryland Attorney General's office. Stay tuned.
There was a day when the villain was easy to spot. These days are different. One day, while shuffling through bills, John discovers something wonderful. A check for $3,000. I just won the International Lottery. I don't remember entering the International Lottery. He calls the lottery agent to verify the news. Hello? Hello. The lottery agent confirms John's good fortune. She tells John the process to claim his winnings is easy. International law requires a portion of the check to be wired back to the office immediately to pay the taxes on your winnings. After that, the rest of the prize money will be released to you. John deposits the check and then wires the money to the agent. John is happy. Too bad the lottery check wasn't real. Unfortunately, the money John wired was real. You work hard for your money. Don't let a few minutes with a scammer separate you from what's taken days, weeks, or even a lifetime to earn. Consumer Federation of America reminds you, you can't win a lottery that you've never entered. Winners pay taxes directly to the government. And remember, there is no legitimate reason why anyone who sends you money would ask you to send money anywhere in return. If that's the deal, it's a scam. You can protect yourself from fraud. Learn how at consumerfed.org/fake-check-scams.
I understand you need a little help with your mortgage. Want to avoid foreclosure. Candy? Well, you're in luck. We're experts in this sort of thing. Mortgage, rigmarole, whatnot. Why don't we get a contract? Who wants a contract?
Here you go, Pete.
Thanks, Betty.
Write a toner.
If you're facing foreclosure, talk to the right people. Speak with HUD-approved housing counselors free of charge at 888-995-HOPE.
Welcome back. Montgomery County's Office of Consumer Protection partners with federal, state, and local consumer agencies and advocacy groups. One is the Consumer Protection Division of the Maryland Attorney General's office. We recently took a field trip there.
It's our ticket out of Rockville. Baltimore, here we come. Got to get some old man music on. Got some Beatle tunes. There's a Beatles song I thought would be a good theme song. The song goes, we can work it out. We can work it out. We can work it out. That would be a good theme song too. Help, I need the Consumer Protection Office. I need someone at Consumer Protection now. Okay, well we're going to see the Chief of the Division of Consumer Protection in the Maryland Attorney General's office. This is our sister agency. They have statewide jurisdiction. They enforce the consumer protection law very similar to our statute, but applies statewide. And we work hand in hand with them And for people who live in counties that don't have a local consumer protection office, which is basically everywhere except Montgomery County and Howard County, they would need to file a complaint with the state agency. And they're within the Attorney General's office. So. Here we are in Baltimore. God, how many levels are in this building? You know, this is one of those garages where they kind of like need a rest stop in the middle of the garage. Get a little dizzy. Hey, Bill. Bill does have some work to do here. All right, Bill, well, thank you for giving us a good excuse to get out of Rockville and visit our sister agency in Baltimore. Can you tell us a little bit about the Division of Consumer Protection within the Maryland Attorney General's office?
The Consumer Protection Division is composed of a number of different units. The unit that most people have contact with is our mediation unit. It handles complaints from consumers about general consumer goods or services. Another public response unit is our Health Education Advocacy Unit. It handles health-related complaints, durable medical equipment, billing complaints, and it also helps people who have been denied by their insurance company for coverage. It helps them go through an internal grievance process with the insurance company, and then will help forward appeals to the Maryland Insurance Administration when it's not preempted, when it's covered by Maryland law. We have an identity theft unit that helps people with identity theft issues. We have 2 registration units. One is a home builder registration unit that registers home builders and then handles complaints related to home builders and takes action against home builders who violate the law. And we also have a health club registration unit. It registers health clubs and similarly helps people with complaints with health clubs and takes action against health clubs that violate the law. We have an arbitration unit and we have an enforcement unit that enforces the Consumer Protection Act and related statutes.
Well, I know only 2 counties in the state of Maryland have local consumer protection offices. So all the other people in other counties, how do they contact your office?
They can either call us or they can contact us on the internet.
Do you still have any satellite offices in the state, or?
Yes, we have 2 branch offices. One is in Hagerstown for Western Maryland, and the other is on the Eastern Shore in Salisbury. And then we have some satellites that an office in Southern Maryland, an office in Cumberland, and an office in Frederick. But those satellite offices are not staffed all the time. The Hagerstown office and the Salisbury office are staffed all the time, and we will be opening by this fall an office in Prince George's County that will be staffed all the time.
Now, I know your office has a mediation program, and I think you rely upon some volunteers to help you with that program. Can you tell us a little bit more about your mediation program?
Yes, our mediation is done by a cadre of volunteers. Some are volunteers who may be retired. We also use student interns. The complaint comes in and will be on a day-to-day basis. The mediation is done by volunteers who will contact the business, find out what the consumer wants, contact the business, and try to work out something that's acceptable to both the consumer and the business. The volunteers are overseen by a small staff of mediation unit supervisors.
The Federal Trade Commission says identity theft is a #1 problem in the country. I assume it's a pretty big problem in Maryland. Do you see a lot of that in your office as well?
Yeah, we do see a number of complaints about identity theft. Our identity theft unit does a number of things. One thing that probably most people have contact with is a data breach notice. When there's a data breach, and we've heard about a lot of data breaches, a lot have been in the news, the company is required to provide notice to the Attorney General's office, and we post those notices online. When people are victims of identity theft or want help believing that they might have been a victim of identity theft, they can call our identity theft unit, and they will help work the person through. There are a lot of things that people have to do. It's a real pain when people are victimized like that.
Right. Yeah, it's terrible. As we've heard, it's not really a matter of if you're going to be the victim of identity theft. It's really more of a matter of when is it going to happen to you, that it's so prevalent.
Well, the information is widespread. I mean, the theft of credit card numbers, Target alone was tens of millions of people. And that's a problem when you have charges that appear on your charge card. But worse than that is if your Social Security number is taken, if they have your Social Security number and birth date, they can establish all sorts of accounts in your name, and that is an incredible headache.
Right. Now, I know in Montgomery County, being close to the consumers, we're able to do some things that your office is not necessarily able to do. But then when it comes to multi-state settlements, that's something that we really rely upon the State Attorney General's office in your division to handle. Is that something that we see every year, different types of multi-state settlements?
Oh, we'll have multiple multi-state settlements every year. One that we did earlier this month, we were on an executive committee, which was part of a leadership in a case with GlaxoSmithKline involving some drugs. The primary drug was Advair. It's an asthma drug. They were selling it for purposes for which it had not been approved, and for which the states alleged it didn't work. The states got together and entered into a settlement with GlaxoSmithKline, under which they agreed not to market it in that way and to make a payment.
Okay. What about the area of immigrant protection? I know we've got a changing demographics in the state, in Montgomery County. A lot of people that speak different languages and coming from different countries. Is your office able to help and provide information to that community as well?
Yes, we have information designed for immigrants, but we also look for cases where one of the problems that we face with the immigrant community is we're less likely to get complaints. Right. It's a vulnerable population, and we try to ensure that all vulnerable populations are protected from people who prey upon them. One scam that specifically targets the immigrant population is a notarious fraud. We had a case last year that we brought against notarios who represented that they could help people with immigration. They were not attorneys. They were not qualified to help people with immigration problems. Immigrants should avoid people who represent themselves to be notarios. They should go to legitimate agencies that provide assistance.
Well, I know another vulnerable group of consumers in Montgomery County and throughout the state are our seniors.
Yes, we have some publications that are specifically aimed at seniors. We have a consumer guide for seniors. We also have a nursing home booklet. We do outreach to seniors groups, send people out to senior centers and the like. And then there are some cases that where seniors are specifically targeted.
Well, I know the attorneys on your staff are seasoned experts in consumer protection, and our office has been around for over 40 years.
One of the nice things about having Montgomery County office is we're able to learn about things from your office, and there are 2 cases that we currently have pending that came from your office. The more boots on the ground that you have, the better off the protection will be, and it would be nice if everyone could have offices like yours.
We greatly appreciate the expertise of your staff, and I think the hardest problem for us is going to be figuring out a way to get out of the garage to get back to Rockville and back to work.
Well, that's it for this episode of Consumer Compass. Thanks for watching.